Hi guys, welcome to the next video of Node Express MongoDB. In this video, we're going to be talking about environment variables and exposing static folders from the server. So first of all, I've opened a package.json file, and before that, I have not explained much about this file. So let's move to this file first. These are all the dependencies that we install to be used in our project. Currently, there are three dependencies being installed: Express, Morgan, and UUID. I'm going to install a couple of more packages. One is the nodemon, and I'm going to go into the terminal and I will write npm install nodemon, and then I'm going to install .env. Nodemon is used to rerun our server whenever we make any change in the file and save that file. uh, we don't need to stop the server and restart the server for uh, updating our data or updating the APIs. It's just that as soon as we update our file and save that file, whether we add a new code or delete any line of code, then our server will be automatically restarted. And the .env package is used to configure our environment variables for multiple environments, like production, development, staging, and any other environment you might want to have while deployment of your project. Currently, while we are testing our project in our local system, it is only a development server currently. So let's try to use the nodemon first, and I'm going to update this script. Currently there is only test script. We have been running the server.js file directly using the node command, but I want to add couple of scripts here. First one is to be for the development, so I can name it start dev. You can write anything over here as you want, it's just the key. And after that, in the value, I needs to write a command that is to be used. So I can write nodemon server.js. Okay, and the second one I can use for the production, but not right now. So in order to run this nodemon server, I can directly run the nodemon server.js in the terminal. That will also work the same way, but you need to install the nodemon globally in your system if you want to work with the nodemon. But if we use this key for running whatever the script inside it, it will not require you to install nodemon globally. Instead, it will bring the nodemon from your local project node modules folder, which is already installed through the dependencies object. Okay, so better to create a key value pair and enter the command that you intend to run after this, and then it will work. So in the terminal, I'm going to run the start dev command, and in order to run the key in the scripts object, I need to run npm run and then the start dev. Okay, so let's see if I'm inside that folder. Yep, I'm inside it. I need to save this file, I forgot to save it. And now I'm going to run npm run dev. Now you can see that by default, npm run and then the name of the key is going to trigger whatever is written as the value of this key. So nodemon server.js, and our server is running on port 4000. And if I hit, you can see that the APIs are working fine. Now if I make any change in any file, let's say if I enter a space at the end of this file and save it, look at the terminal, it will restart automatically. We don't need to stop the server and rerun the server. Nodemon is really helpful. Okay, now let's come back to the setting up the environment variables. So environment variables are very important for the security of your application. You can save the passwords, client IDs, secret keys to access the APIs, the third party APIs. Like you want to access the uh, social media APIs, that you require you to add a client IDs and GitHub API key or the OpenSea API key, or any other platform. So first of all, I'm going to create a new file and I'm going to name it config.env. Okay, So this file is required for the package.env that we have installed, and config.env is going to have all the variables that we need to run our project, mainly the secret keys. So node env, and by default I'm going to give it the development environment. Okay, and I can pass the port as well, which is the 4000 currently. So I'm going to save it, and in the server I can import that .env variables, and in order to import that I need to write require and .env, and then I can directly here I can run another function, and that in that I can give the path of my config.env file. So path and config.env. Okay, so I've already required and also I've added the config file. We could do it in two lines, but I have directly added it in one line. Okay, now let's create a port variable. So in order to access all the variables that we have added in this config.env file, we need to write a process.env, and that will actually show us all the environment variables. So process dot env and dot port, which is the variable that we have created in that config file, and we can also pass the default port if by any chance this variable does not exist in the environment. Currently this is the development environment, local environment, but it's in some cases we might be deploying our application to a server that does not have this variable. Then in that case we need to give it a default variable. Okay, so I need to give a port variable as well. So rather than directly writing the 4000, I can write a port variable and also over here. So in order to use it, I can write the port like this and change the characters like this. Okay, so let's save it, and you can see as I'm saving these files the server is restarting again. Okay, so I'll come back to this file to make some changes. First of all, in this server, let's also log the process.env here. Okay, so this is now you can see that server restarted automatically, and this is all the variables existing in our process.env object. And in here you can see that there is also a variable port as well as the node env. These two variables are created, and other variables were by default added. Some are paths of the files in my local system, some are few more packages. All right, this is the default behavior of this node, uh, of this process.env variable. Okay, and just like this we could also find the port from here, and this is what we have already done, and it's the part of javascript. If the port does not exist, then bring the 4000, but I think that it's not bringing the 4000 from here, instead from the port variable. Okay, we have now set up the development environment. Now let's come back and try to figure out what are the different variables that we can set while calling the server. Okay, in I think the third or fourth video of this crash course I explained you guys about the command line args, and I talked about the yargs package as well. So we can use that in order to configure uh, the different params from the command line argument. So let's come back to the index file, and inside it, um, let's say that I want to pass some kind of argument from my terminal. Okay, so let's come back to the package.json, and I'm going to add another key. So I'm going to write start.prod, which is this, and this is going to take a variable node underscore env equals to production, and then node mon. server.js. Okay, so what it's going to do is it's going to update the value of node env uh, over here. Okay, not in the file, but while we are running our project. So by default, it's going to change it, but still we cannot test it in our local system. Local system will always behave like a development environment. When we will be deploying our project at the end of this crash course on any server, then we will be able to check if the production environment is working fine or not. So I can also run this start prod, and you can see that this is the server, and in here I can actually test the node env variable. So console.log, and here I can write, here I can try to see what's inside this process.env variable. So I'm going to run start prod. Okay, now you can see if I go up, I should find out these variables. One is this thing, yeah, node.env. Here you can see it's a production. It's because that we are actually updating the node.env directly from our command line. We could directly run this command in our terminal, and in second or third video of this crash course I told you how to pass params, and it's just like that. We are actually running this particular command from the terminal. Okay, so it means that we are setting up this variable to the production from the terminal directly. All right, so now it's actually checking that node env equals to the production. Okay, and our port is again will be same because we have not set the port directly from the terminal. In this command we can set that as well. So let's come back to the env, and let's say that I want to talk about static folders, static files in this video. So I'm going to create another folder over here, and I'm going to name it public, and inside the public I can create a new file. Let's say I want to create like notes.html. Okay, it can be any other UI libraries like EJS or the PUB library for the server side rendering. So whenever we trigger any HTML from the server, then it will automatically behave like a server side rendered HTML. So inside it I can actually pass that HTML. So this one, and then I can pass the head. Okay, and then the title is just that anything inside it. So in the body I can write h1, note 1, note 2, note 3. It's just a static HTML. Okay, now let's try to expose this particular HTML on a different route through Express. Okay, so I'm gonna go inside the index. So now let's try to expose this public folder in Express server as a middleware. So in order to expose it, we can write app.use and then express.static, and then I can write dollar underscore dir name and then public. Okay, so I need to go to the browser. It's actually dir name. Okay, now it will work fine. It should be underscore. Okay, so now I need to go to the browser, and I can actually fetch all the HTML or UI files whether it's EJS or PUB files, any handlebars, then I can write a localhost colon 4000 slash nodes.html to see all the content of this file. So let's go to the browser, and here I can write localhost colon 4000 slash nodes.html. And now you can see that I have the node 1, node 2, node 3, and this is the title of the page being shown up. And this is how I can expose those files, and we can create as much files as we want using any templating engine, and it will be available to us along with the API routes. We can also show or render different HTML or the UI templates to the browser as well whenever that API gets triggered. So we can also bind this particular content with any object to be passed over here, but for that we need to use any templating engines like the EJS or handlebars, and I showed you in one of my previous videos as well. So that's it for this video. Let's talk about MongoDB in the next video, and from now on we will be using MongoDB for all kinds of data of our nodes, and we will be ignoring this nodes.json file now, and everything that we'll be working on is the original database, which is the MongoDB. So let's move further, and thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe my channel.